Hello everybody, welcome back to my training channel. Today we are going to complete our Python CRUD API part 3 of the tutorial series. In the last two parts we created the API, FastAPI for fetching the data, displaying it, and we did the insert form in the second part. Now we have to add the facility for editing the data from the index file and deleting the data. So for that, what we'll be doing is we will be creating the FastAPI route for edit and delete, and in frontend we will be giving the edit form and the links in the CRUD operation in the index file from where we can edit and delete the data. So let's dive into the coding and start the editing part of API. So this was the last API which we created. The last time which we did was this API, and now what we'll be doing is, let me zoom it first. Okay, we did two functionality in your API. One is your fetching of products with the URL /products. Next is the post at the same URL. Now for editing, what we have to do is we have to get the data by ID of the product, so that will be filled in the form. So for that we will be creating a route over here, that is app dot, the method will be get, because this will be fetching first. So for fetching, the URL will be something like this, /products, and then slash, and we give in curly braces product underscore ID. So this is the thing which has to be added to get the product by product ID. We give the URL as /products, and this will be replaced by the actual product ID 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever will be passed from the index file over here. So this is the route which is created. Thereafter we define the function. So for that we give def get underscore product underscore by underscore ID. So we create this particular function over here, and in that you have to pass the parameter. So that parameter will be the same that is defined over here, that is product underscore ID. And we define the type as integer. So this particular function will take the product ID as integer as a parameter. The same steps again, we have to do the connection first. So we define con equals to get connection, that will be same in each and every step. After that we define a cursor, so that is cur equals to con dot cursor. In cursor we give as dictionary equals to true. So this is specified. After that what we have to do is we have to create the query to get the data. So there is cur dot execute. In execute we specify the query as select star from products, where we have to specify where clause over here, because I want to fetch the particular product ID data. So over here we say where ID equals to, again we give the parameter. So for giving the parameter we'll be just giving as %s, that is our parameter, and the value of parameter has to be passed after it. So we give it in curly braces, we give it in round brackets product ID. So this is the parameter which is passed. So this query will run and take the product ID from the URL, and it will be passed over here. So that's the query. After that we create the object of product. I want to return the single product, so product equals to cur dot fetch. We have a method fetch 1. So 1 will only fetch a single record from the database, which is giving by the output of this query. So this is done. After that we close the cursor, so cur dot close. We have to close the connection then, so that is con dot close. and the query is written. And if the data is not found, then we have to return some error. So for that we give a if statement, that is if not product, then what has to be done? So you return error over here. Return, we specify in curly bracket message, that is data is not found or whatever. So we specify error, and an error we specify as product not found. If everything goes well, then we have to return the entire product. So for that we give the return statement at the end, return, and then we have to return the product. So we give it in curly bracket, and I defined as product. This is the array which will be used in the front end, product and colon the product. So this is getting a single product. So this will allow us to get the single product from the data which is passed in the URL by clicking on edit. After that, the next part for your editing portion is update. So for update also we have to create a route. So we specify app dot. Now this will be a next route which is known as put. Put allows us to update the data. Post will create the new data. Put will create the data, but it will be in update mode. So for that we pass the same URL products, and over here it will be same as the upper one. We have to specify the product ID over here. So that is the same thing which we done at the top, product underscore ID. So that is passed over here. After that we have to define the function. So def, and we define the function as update underscore product. So this is my function name, and in that function also we have to pass the parameter, that is product ID. So we specify product underscore ID colon integer, and over here we have to take two data, that is the product ID also, as well as the data which is came from the form, which we did in our insert section. In insert we did this particular thing. In post we took the form data. Same way we have to give the form data over here also. We specify comma, and then we specify two fields, that is name colon str, that is string, equals to from, that is form, and we specify three dots over here. Spelling is wrong, typo mistake, form dot dot dot, that is the data. Next will be price. So it is same, I specify price over here. In that price we have to specify float as we did before. So float, and equals to, we take the data from the form itself, that is form, and in that form we specify again dot dot dot. So this will take the data from the form which is submitted. So this is done. Thereafter same thing, we have to do the connection. So we give con over here, we specify get connection, that is done over here. Thereafter we specify cursor. So we specify cur equals to con dot cursor, so that we create the cursor. After that cur dot execute, and in that we have to give the statement for updating. So that update statement in SQL is update products, and we have to set the fields. So the statement is set, and set name equals to a particular value. So that is again the parameter, so percentage s, then we specify a comma. After that second field, that is price. In price also we have to specify percentage s, that is our parameter, and where clause, because we want to update only one field. If you don't specify where, it will update all the records. So what we do is update product, set name equals to a parameter, price equals to a parameter, where id equals to a parameter. And now we have to pass the parameter three values over here. So for that I specify comma after that, and in comma we specify again a bracket, and that bracket will be, let me complete the string over here, okay, and then we specify three values, name comma price comma product ID. So three things will be passing over here. So this is the update statement which will allows us to update the record inside your database. Update products, set name equals to parameter, price equals to parameter, where id equals to parameter, that is the database field, and we pass the three values name, price and product id. So this is written. After that we have to close the cursor. So for that, before that, we need to do one thing which is done in our insert, that is commit, to change the record. So for that we do is cur dot commit, con dot commit. That is done over here. We commit the data, commit function, so it will update the record. Then we close the cursor dot close. Thereafter we close the connection, that is con dot close, and we have to set a return message over here also. So we say return. In return, what we do is we give the status, in status we specify success. So I give a status as colon, and then we say success, success, and in success we can give a message over here. So that is success, comma, and we give a message, colon, and we specify product updated successfully. So this is the part for your updating the entire record inside your database. So this thing is done. After that we have to do for edit. So for edit, what we have to do is we have to specify the edit function, which as we did in our edit and update, we will specifying a function for updating the record. So for updating the record, that is deleting the record, over here what we will be doing is we give as @app dot, now the method will be delete. So in delete also we have to give the same path. So that is method will be post, because it will be delete. We will be passing the delete method below. So post, and then we'll say products. So specify products, and over here again in curly bracket we will be specifying the product ID. But for that we just pass the record as delete. So this is the path /product/delete, and then we have to delete on the ID itself. So for that we define a function def delete, give the name as delete underscore products or delete underscore product, and then we pass the ID over here. So that ID type should be integer, and we take the value from the form. So we specify over here from form, and in that form we specify again dot dot dot, specify the function. So over here we have to fire the query for delete. So the path for delete will be app.post, because it is just delete function, we don't want to put the value. In our update we specified it as put, but in delete we just have to post the data. We have to just pass the ID and it should be delete from the database. So delete product integer ID, and we take the value from the form. So for that again we do the connection, con equals to get connection, the same method over here. Get connection, we created cursor, so cur equals to con dot cursor, and we do cur dot execute. In execute we will be specifying the delete query. So delete will be delete from products, where we specify again the parameter id equals to %s. So this specify, we have to pass the value for s. So we give comma over here, in comma we specify id. So this query has been written over here. Again we are making changes to the database, so we have to commit. So again con dot commit, we have to close the cursor, so that is cur dot close, we have to close the connection, con dot close, and we have to specify the message as usual. So we return the data, in return we specify status, In status we give it as success again, and in message we specify message as deleted. So these are the three methods which we have written new inside your API for editing and deleting. First was getting the data by ID. So for that we specify as app.get product/product ID. We define the function, we pass the integer product ID over here, we get the connection, we create the cursor, we run the query as select star from product where product ID, that is ID equals to the product ID, and we specify as cursor.fetch1, so that will fetch the record once, that is first record which has been executed by this particular query. It will only fetch one record. We close the connection and the cursor, and we give the output as return the product. So this will return me the single product. Now to update that is after this has been fetched in the form, the user will click on update in the UI, and then that will be fetching in this particular function. We have to write a function for updating. So for that, products and product ID again, we write the function as update product. Over here, just one more change. Instead of just passing the product ID, we have to pass the entire record. So for that, we did in the post method while creating, the same thing has to be done over here. We specify name, that is from ... and the price, and then connection, cursor, and we fire the update query. Update product, set name equals to parameter, price equals to parameter, where ID equals to parameter, pass the three values, and then we commit it. Same thing for delete, we just have to create the path as delete. We don't need to pass product ID over here. There is a mistake over here, just change it, product ID. Okay, we don't have to pass the product ID over here, we just create the path. We define the function, inside that we pass the integer as from the value, so that will be passed from the front end. We get the connection, we fire the query delete from products where ID equals to this, and we commit and close. So this part is complete. Just try to run if it is fetching any error or something. The path is started over here, and I give as products. So that record has been fetched. We have the ID as 1, we pass the ID as 1. So this is showing you that your single query which we wrote right now is firing. We can't update it directly over here without the form, because this is taking value from the form. So we can just check this first part of getting by ID. I just pass the URL with the product ID, and it is getting me the record. That particular record is being fetched. So this portion of your API is complete for the CRUD operation. Now for that, we have to create a form for editing inside your front end, and then just clicking for delete. So two things has to be done inside your front end. So let's open the front end folder. Visual Studio Code. We open the folder as PHP front end. This was our front end portion. This is the index file. Which was fetching the data. Now what we have to do is, first and foremost, we create the edit file. So for that, we just create a file named as edit. So for here, we give the starting point PHP. Now this is edit page, so we have to do each and everything which we done in our create form. That will be a simple repetition of what we did. So first and foremost, we give the URL as API_base, whatever variable you want, you can keep it. Then we take the base URL, so that base URL is this, just products, so that will be the base URL. We specified the base URL. Then we have ID over here. because I want to fetch on ID. So $id we specify. In PHP we used to get it using $_get from the URL. So get will be passed over here. I will say ID over here, and then we use a ternary operator and specify null. So if it is not getting, then it will be assigned a value of null over here. We check it that if it is fetched. So if we specify not $id, if it is not set, then what has to be done? So for that we can give an error over here. We just say die. That is a pattern for your PHP. In you have that do or die, that is functionality in your PHP. Invalid product ID, and this is done. If everything is good, then we have to fetch it. So we specify the variable as $ch. In that ch we say curl init. We specify curl init over here, so that curl object is initialized. Then we have to set the option for curl, so that is curl underscore set option, and we pass the curl object, that is ch. The option which we want to pass is curl opt underscore URL. First and foremost you have to specify the URL. So for that URL you have to give it in $API underscore base, that is our top variable which we defined, and then we have to pass the product ID. So it's pass over here /$ID. So this will be the URL set options of curl. Then you again set option, that is curl underscore set opt. Second option to set in curl is $ch. We specify the object curl underscore opt underscore return transfer, because we are getting the data over here, and we specify true. So that is done over here. Thereafter we take the response. So we create an object, that is a variable. We specify response equals to curl underscore execute, and we execute the curl object, that is ch. So this is done. This is written over here. After that we close the object taking the response. So you just say curl underscore close. So fire this close. Don't forget to close the curl, because if it is active your server will be in load. So close it whenever it is done, our work is done. After that we want to take the data from the response. So we create a variable as data equals to, the data will be in JSON as you saw over here. The data is JSON as usual. So we take it from this JSON dot decode. So that is JSON underscore decode, a function to decode the JSON data from the response. So we take it from the response and we specify true over here. So our data is in JSON format in $data, and we want the product data. So we specify one more variable, $product, that is single product, equals to $data square bracket, the data which we passed with the name, that is we are passing it in this particular format, product. So we can grab it in this particular sequence only, the same name has to be passed. So it will be an array. So we specify product over here, product, or we specify null. So whether the product is returned or it will be null. And we again check if not product, if product is not set, $product. If not product, then we have to give an error. So for that again the die statement, die and say product not found. This is done. After that come out of the loop, that is the statement, if statement. We specify if $_server, and we specify the request method. So we say request underscore method equals to single quote and post. because in your form the method will be post. Remember, in your API we gave put, but over here you just have get and post, so just specify post over here. This is for the submission, when the user will click on the edit submission form. So this is a checking that if it is clicked, the button is clicked, then only go inside. And then we say $update, we have to create the fields, update underscore fields, create a variable update fields equals to square bracket, because I want multiple data, that is ID, name and price. So same way as we did in our insert, we have to specify it and we have to associate it. This is associated to array. We say $underscore post and we give the name of the text box. The text box name will be name which will be created in the below. This is done. We specify comma, second value we have to take, second value is price, so that is price over here, and over here also I specify it as price. So this is the array which will be updated. Now again for this we have to create the curl object. This was for fetching the data and this is for inserting the data. Our curl object is already closed, so we can create it again over here. I open it, that is ch equals to curl init. I initialize the object. Over here we have to specify curl options, so that is curl set opt, setting the option $ch, again the variable. We specify the same URL, we just copy paste this line so it will be faster. This is done. Return also we need, so we take the return line also, but in between we have to change the option. So for that what we'll be doing is curl set opt, and the option is for putting that particular request and putting the actual data for updating. So for that we just specify as curl underscore custom request, request, comma, and we specify the method as put. Because it is put, we have to specify this as curl underscore custom request, and that is put over here. So that is done over here. Thereafter again a curl object, we have to specify as post fields, that we did in the insert form, the same thing. So over here request as post fields, and that variable is $post fields which we created at above. So we specify as $update fields which we specified. So over here you have to specify 4 options: URL, the custom request method put, the post fields, that is the update fields data, and return transfer. So that is done over here. After that we take the result in result equals to $data. Result we just need to execute. So what we do is result equals to curl underscore execute, that is exec, execute, and the object is $ch. So this will execute the update request, and we close curl, that is curl underscore close. So one curl request over here for fetching the data, second curl request is for posting the updated data. So check the method as post, we create the array, we set 4 options, and we execute using this. Now the second part of this particular is we have to create the form over here. So for that we have to go inside below this PHP thing, and we do is just say doc type, I specify, or I just type HTML file and it will be written. So that is done over here. Thereafter we have to create the form in the body section. So we give in body section first we specify h1. In h1 you can just say edit product, so it is visible on the form. After that what we do is we create a form. In form we have to specify the method as post, suppose capital or small, it will work. And in form we have to create the label. In label we just type it product name. We create the input field. Input type equals to text. Type equals to text. Name equals to, first field is for name, so we specify name over here. We have to specify value over here, which will be fetched from the database. So that is value equals to, now the value is coming in the array named as product over here. We fetched it inside your product, so we can directly write it over here to get the data. In value we can specify it as double quotes, we start PHP associate tag, so in that you can type it HTML special characters, I pass the function, and inside that I say $product, that is our array, and inside that array the field name, that is the JSON return name over here. So this will be done. After that we have to close the bracket, so this is done, and we specify required equals to true. So this is first text box. I copy it, I paste it, I just have to change the names over here, so we can say price. Input type equals to this, specify as price. We can take the input type as number also over here. So it will take only number input. Value equals to HTML special characters, and then you can specify it over here as price, and we specify required over here. After that we just have to specify a button, so we take the button over here, and in button we give it as type equals to submit, and we type as update product. So this much logic is done inside your edit form. Now what we have to do is we have to call this edit PHP inside your index. So in that index what we'll be doing is we'll be typing a URL that is inside your table. We have to increment a field over here, so we say th, that is table head, and we give it as edit, and over here we can increase the td, that is table data, inside which we will be specifying ahref, that is the URL to fetch that record. So we give as ahref equals to, our file is edit.php, so the edit.php, we specify question mark id equals to, and we have to pass it same way as we did and printed the price and everything. So we take this id over here, we are printing the id also, we copy it, and inside this we specify as this. We have to specify it in PHP, so we question mark equals to, and over here we just have to pass. So this is done, and we can type edit in between. So this is for edit. Same way we can do it for delete also. So for delete also we pass this variable, let's type delete over here. The file which we will be creating will be delete.php, and one more thing has to be passed in your delete functionality. I just want to give an option to the user, that is on click. On click I want to specify return confirm. I'll just ask the question to the person that you want to exactly delete that record or not. So we can just say delete the item. and we specify this delete over here. We give a termination over here. So this is your delete thing. So two things we added in your index.php, that is edit link and delete link. We haven't created the delete functionality yet, but okay, let's complete the delete functionality also, then we can jump on to testing the actual thing. So we create a file as delete.php. That will be again a PHP file, but this is a shorter code because we just need to take the ID, and from that ID we have to delete that particular record. So we just test that if is set $_get ID, and we specify ID over here, single quote, because it will be a variable. If is set $_get ID, inside that we have to again give the API delete URL. So for that we create a variable as $API_delete equals to, take the same URL because I want it over here, and instead of this the URL will be delete, which we created in the API. So that API delete URL has been created. Then we specify $data, a variable, and from that variable you just say square bracket, single quote, $ID, associate it with $get, $_get, and in that get we specify ID. So this is associating this particular variable. Data should be binded to this particular ID, single ID data should be binded. So we created again the curl object. We just say curl_init, and we want to initialize it using this data. So we specify the variable over here, $data, $API delete. So this is done. Thereafter we say curl_set option, it is set opt, and $ch. A new thing over here, we did it as set option and _array. We have to pass the ch object, that is a curl object over here, and then we specify a square bracket. In that we specify as curl opt_post, and post will be true, so we give it as true over here. Second thing will be passing as curl_opt_post files, that is post fields, equals to, again we specify as true over here. No, post fields will be data, so we specify the data variable which we created, and again what we will be doing is the transfer, that is return transfer. So curl opt return transfer, we specify array as. So we specified options in an array format. We specified three things. One is curl opt post equals to post field equals to data. The data will be from that particular ID, so that ID data will be passing over here, and after this we have to execute it. So we say curl_execute and $ch, so that will be executing the curl object. Thereafter curl.close, so we specify close and $ch inside it, so it will close that thing. After deleting, what we have to do is we have to redirect the user to the same URL. So for that we have it in PHP as header location, so we can just say header. In header I specify location, and our file is index.php, so it will redirect, and then I exit over here. So I type the code as exit. So what we did in delete is we created the delete URL in a variable. We took the data from ID get the ID which is in the URL. We started the curl object on the API. Curl set option array. We pass the array object. Post is true. Then we set post fields, so that will be the data itself, the ID itself, and return transfer. Then we executed it and we return it to index.php. So this is the front end part. So we did backend part as well as the front end part. It is completed. Now we can check if it is working successfully. Let's test it. So for that, let's test the application now. This is our index. We added two links, that is edit and delete. So when you click on edit, you can observe that you are fetching the record by ID. The ID which is passed over here 3, it goes to this API and returns you the data. The form is filled. Now you can check the edit functionality. I change the price to 45,000 and I click on update. It is updated. So this is your edit working perfectly. Same way we can check the delete functionality. I click on delete. It asks me whether you want to delete the item, and you can just click on OK. The record is deleted. So this is, we did successfully the CRUD operation using your FastAPI in your Python and implementing the front end in your PHP, core PHP. Hope the tutorial is useful. For more tutorials, you can subscribe and like our channel and get updated with information technology tutorials. For any clarifications or any doubts for any of the topics on my channel, you can always type in your comment box and I'll surely reply you back. So keep learning. Thank you for watching.